Yeah. It definitely gets a lot more comfortable way later on. But I was really thinking about that. Like you and some of the other bigger guests we had. I remember I would drive home from work. I'm like, ooh, and now it's like just talking to another friend. It's
That's why
cool.
it should be with everybody. Everybody puts their pants on the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
one
Yeah.
leg at a
I
time.
probably the only person that really made me nervous that we had on was Ted Nugent.
Oh,
That would
Uncle
make me
Ted.
nervous. Yeah.
Yeah, I was nervous. Nowadays, now I wouldn't be at all. But I was the first time we had Ted. I was really nervous about that, and trying to. I don't think there's anybody else that makes me nervous.
Were you a big fan of his before you even ever had him on?
Yeah, I mean, no, not really.
Hmm.
I mean, I listened to him some, but I mean, it's not like I had Eddie Van Halen on.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say. I mean, everybody listens to Stranglehold.
Hmm.
So I'm a big. I would probably be more excited to have Sammy Hagar on, and I've reached out to his people 2 or 3 times. I just can't get that worked out, but
Is
I'd
it?
like to have Sammy on.
Is it a timing thing, or he just doesn't do the outdoors podcast
You
kind of deal?
just, you never can tell. Sometimes I can get in and talk to anybody I want to, and sometimes you get a big buffer put up. It's
Hmm.
kind of one of those deals. It's kind of like who you know. If you know the
Yeah.
right person that can get you in touch with someone, it's not a problem at all.
Hmm.
But those guys get hit up by everybody all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you like Joe Dirt? You listen to Van Halen, not Van Hagard?
I like both Van Halen and Van Hagar. I grew up listening to Van Halen, and then I was in probably I don't even know how old I was. Probably 20 years old when Van Hagar come around when Sammy came on. But I liked Sammy before then, so I like both of them a lot. There's a lot of the old music that I really like. Eddie was the reason there was a great band, anyways. Let's be honest, he was the instrument there. But
Hmm.
I like Sammy on there a lot. I don't. My favorite song is "Drop Dead Legs," and that would have been with David Lee Roth.
Hmm.
But it, I like both of them. Probably, I probably listen to more Van Hagar than I do Van Halen though now.
You big hairband guy?
Oh yeah, I ain't got no hair, but I'm a hairband guy, 100%. That's the best music in the whole any old rock and roll from the 70s and the 80s is where I'm at. And
Yeah.
I like a lot of older country too.
Okay. As as a Texas resident, how do you feel about Big X the Plug?
Who the hell is that?
Oh, hey.
You might know the song. It's popular in the a lot of waterfowlers go over it. It's like I'm from Texas. Uh,
Is it
that
new music?
it is new.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's big on it. It's big on social media.
Is it like rap shit or
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, it is
Oh
definitely
fuck!
rap shit.
You know what? We're having a rap artist on Friday. I'm embarrassed to tell you I can't remember his name.
Oh,
Uh,
I was gonna ask you.
It's not Paul
it's
Wall, is it?
no, it's a guy from Utah that's a hunter. They just talked about him on Joe Rogan the other day, and I can't remember his damn name.
Hmm.
It's on my phone, and so I can't look it up and be on here at the same time. But God, what the hell's that guy's name? Not the Fabric or something. Oh, what is his name? Anyways, he's an upcoming rap artist, and they talked about him on Joe Rogan. Just the other day, they talked about him, and the guy reached out to me, and he's going to be on with us Friday morning.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about rap other than Eminem's white, Ice Cube's black. That's about all I know about rap music.
Just real quick, I did start recording.
That's fine.
Welcome back to the Marsh Boys podcast. As usual, I'm Brian.
I'm Ryan. Happy sink filled with mayo.
Happy Sinkfield Mayo. And we are joined by owner of Stanfield Hunting Outdoors, host of the Big Honker Podcast, Jeff Stanfield.
And it is
Welcome
Cinco
back.
de Mayo, which is a Texas holiday, just about.
We're joining you.
There you go.
We got the tequila here.
I just need any good reason to put a glass of tequila in front of my face, I
Yeah,
promise.
fair.
You know they don't celebrate Cinco de Mayo in Mexico much though.
Really?
It's
I
an
thought it was a whole
American holiday.
week-long thing.
I think it's more of American and Texas thing more than it is a Mexican thing.
That tracks. Any excuse to drink, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got
they
that
don't
right.
They don't need it. They
Yeah.
don't need that. There ain't nothing like if you want to get the cops called, throw a Mexican family reunion and serve some Bud Light, and I promise you someone's getting knifed.
Bud Light and DeConte.
Oh yeah, something's coming on. See, I'm a Dos Equis guy myself.
Okay.
I've never gotten into it. I mean,
Really?
yeah, no, the one Soul. That stuff's good.
That's not bad. I'm a Dos Equis guy, but I like mine a little different. I like chiladas. It's my only drink I drink anymore, and it's beer in a frozen mug with a glass of ice, which is ICE, because I know I say it like a Texan. Everybody thinks I'm asking for ass. But but lime juice, salt and lime on the rim, and pour that beer over that ice. Ooh, it's good. That's a good pool drink.
See, I've never gotten into doing too much with beer. I did for a while there. I like Cholula hot sauce, or no, yeah, Cholula. I like Cholula hot sauce, and I started pouring a little bit of Cholula on the rim.
I've never had that. Tahine's real big.
Yeah.
I was raised in Wichita Falls, and Wichita Falls is a big red draw place, which is beer and tomato juice, not Clamato juice.
Ooh.
Beer and tomato juice in a frozen mug. It's pretty good. You'll actually be surprised. And it goes down really, really easy, and a little bit of salt.
Yeah.
I remember the last time we talked, I think it was towards the end, there was like a certain bottle of something you wanted to drink that you were waiting for your co-host to bring back to you. I can't remember what that was called.
Oh, wasn't that the little mini keg you guys got?
Oh, Andy's got that was sent to us by Hunt Proof. It's
Yeah.
it's a charred barrel, and you put your whiskey in it, and it ages it. Andy's a bourbon drinker. I had a bottle of I ordered some kind of liqueur from Portugal, some cherry stuff to try it. I'm one of these guys. If I see some shit on the internet or something, I'm a sucker buyer about shit.
That's what it was. When we talked, it was that cherry stuff.
Yeah, and it was pretty good. And it's just an after dinner drink that you have, and it's a big
Like
thing.
a port?
It's Portugal. It's not port wine. It's like a cherry liqueur kind of, but it's from Portugal. I'm trying to think if we got a bottle. Hold on, I got a bottle. I'll show you what it is.
Yeah, I kind of want to see what this is. You ever had the Chambord?
What?
Chambord. I think is that cherry? Or no, that's raspberry liqueur. That stuff's so good. Diabetes in a glass, but it's so good.
With my stomach, I don't deal too much with.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely have to pop 3 or 4 Prilosec before you get into that one.
This is all that we got left here of it. It's called Liqueur de Ginja, Ginja, Americanus, and it's from Portugal. Sweet and sour cherry liqueur is what it is. You can see that
Sweet and sour cherry liqueur.
Yeah, and it's really it's really good. But you just take a drink of it like after dinner. I think I was watching Anthony Bourdain. No, it wasn't. Me and Michelle were watching Someone Feed Phil with Phil.
That's a good
Rosenthal.
show.
It's a great show. He seems like a really nice man for a liberal. But anyways,
that's one hell of a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, it damn sure is that. But anyways, we watched that, and I bought it off there, and I bought 4 bottles, and I think Michelle gave 2 or 3 bottles to somebody else because that's the way things go. She's a very charitable person, so we need to order some more of it. But I'm a sucker about stuff like that. Like last year, I saw a Russian food. It was pine cones in a jelly. It's from Russia, so I ordered those, and we ate them at the lodge, and it wasn't bad. I was kind of really surprised. But
how do you eat a pine cone?
Little tiny pine cones. They're real soft. You ever seen like those baby corn that them Chinese?
Oh
people
yeah.
eat?
Okay, yeah.
But it's pine cone, and they make it into like a honey jelly of some sort. It's not bad. It's a Russian deal, so I had to try it.
That's a crazy one. I'm interested.
And then this year I tried mesquite coffee. Have you had a mesquite bean?
Oh. No, but that sounds really good.
For some reason, I thought mezcal in the beginning there, and my stomach turned over.
No, not mezcal, but it's mesquite beans, and it's a coffee, but it tastes more like chicory than it does coffee or tea. So it's kind of bitter tasting, but I had to try it, so I bought it. And this year I'll find something else that'll sucker me in and see if it's any good, and I'll try it. There's a place that's selling bananas now on the internet. Have you seen that?
But
they got these
bananas,
and they're freaking expensive too. It's like $100 for some bananas. I thought, what the hell?
Are they like a different kind of banana? Because I know most of the bananas you buy in store now are clones of the same banana, like the same breed.
Yes,
I didn't know.
The original breed of bananas that people ate got wiped out by disease.
Yeah.
And they made this new clone ones, and that's what we all eat now. And I can't remember the name of them. But there's like 9 different bananas and plantains out there. And
Really?
this company sends you like 3 or 4 different kinds of bananas, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm all for that." And there's $100. I said, "I ain't paying $100 for no freaking bananas. It ain't."
So that's
So
like up in here in the Philly. Well, we're not. I work in the Philly area, so I work with some guys in the Philly area. There's a truck that comes from Georgia up to the Philadelphia area with peaches, and they charge you like 15-20 bucks for a couple pounds of peaches.
That's crazy.
are they from Georgia?
Yeah, yep. There's
Yeah,
a
they're
driver
damn.
that.
They're good.
Yeah, oh, yes, they are. I had one or two last year when they
How
brought them to
different
work.
are they from the peaches we grow here?
They're
Are they
juicier.
sweeter?
They're juicier. They're sweeter and a little bigger.
Okay.
Because
I
yeah,
think, but Colorado and Georgia is famous for having peaches. Both
Yeah.
for some
Colorado.
reason. Yeah, Colorado's got big time
Yeah.
I didn't know
peach.
that.
Yeah, really good, and they're good, really good. So it's crazy how certain geographical areas, like you can't get a good peach in Texas hardly. You get around the hill country, you can, but up here where we're at, they always freeze out every year.
Hmm.
Is that just because the nights get colder quicker?
I, we always have a fucking weird freeze like in April, and it always
Oh.
about the time they bloom out every year. It happens. Like we've got a lot of rain. We've got Mexican tree ducks all over town now. They've just showed up, but we were in a drought a month ago, and now the last 3 weeks it has rained and rained and rained. It rained this morning about an inch of rain, and we're supposed to have 2 or 3 more inches tonight.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're supposed to get rain the next 5 days. I was going to
Yeah.
ask you about that. Not to sound like an old man, but has the weather been rough down there lately?
Typical spring. I got to chase tornadoes Tuesday and got on one. It was a good day. It was fun.
Oh, I didn't know you chased tornadoes.
You
I
talked
did.
about that last time.
Did he? Do
That's my jam. That's my thing I like to do.
you have a souped up vehicle for it, or like
No,
how are you doing
can't
that?
outrun. You can't outrun them. I've got a black Z71 Chevy pickup. Call her Black Betty. She's got more hell dents than a fat chick's ass. Some bitch is beat to hell, and that's what I tornado chase in.
How close? How close do you think you've been to one? How close do you
I've
feel like you can get?
Well, last year I've been chasing tornadoes pretty seriously for probably 20 years.
Okay.
Last year I got into 2 tornadoes one day, and it was right here in my hometown. I mean, one of them was 2 blocks from my house. The other one was a mile west of town. And then we got into a tornado last Tuesday. I got into one again. And that's the only 2 tornadoes I've drove in my whole life. So I've been actually drove in 2 tornadoes, or actually 3, I guess, in the last year. Before that, about a quarter of a mile away.
Hmm. So you don't need that crazy vehicle you see on the Weather Channel that like screws itself into the ground so they can go right through it.
That's a movie.
No, well, that's Reed's vehicle, the Dominator. And Reed's going to end up dying in that vehicle probably, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but that's probably what's going to happen is something's going to get thrown into him. I don't know that vehicle will ever get thrown around, but they've got fighter jet glass in it where they can watch it. Now, my dream would be to ride in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they even got fighter jet seats in the back that swivel and shit like you're in a Star Wars, like an X-Fighter or something. But I would like to ride in it, and I like to get close too, but man, a vehicle's the most dangerous thing you can be in a tornado, and a lot of people don't realize that. It's a bad place to be.
Mm-hmm. It's good for lightning, bad for tornadoes.
They can pick you up and throw you around.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're basically like a pinball at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's exactly what you are. More people get killed in cars than they do out of cars.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it true you look for a ditch?
Yeah,
like-
you lay down in a ditch. That's like
No, well,
Oh, I thought it was. I thought that was like the common knowledge.
no, it takes some balls. Like if you're going to fly in a rocket ship to get out of a vehicle and go lay in a fucking ditch, while a tornado is going to fly over the top of you. It takes a lot of. I would really, really, really have to be desperate to do that shit. I'm not going to lie to you.
So
I mean-
let's say you're not as experienced as you are with chasing tornadoes, right?
Yes.
So let's say you're like an average person, you're going down the highway, and you said vehicles are one of the most dangerous things to be in during that. What are you doing if you're in like the plains? Where are you going? How are you going to weather that?
You don't fucking drive in a tornado, or you get out of the path of this son of a bitch. It's pretty easy.
I was going to say, you turn around.
Yeah, I mean, it's some
Pucker
bitch
up
go
and
forward
run.
and backwards. It don't just go one way, and you're not
Yeah.
stuck on rails. There's situations people get caught in the interstates. most people that do that don't know how to read a fucking radar and they don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Now,
So, sorry, go ahead.
no, you get caught in traffic in a big city. That's my biggest fear. Like Oklahoma City is a good tornado chasing place. You get caught at 5 o'clock traffic in Oklahoma City and there's a tornado coming. Maybe my ass is jumping out and jumping in a ditch somewhere. But if I can see a radar and get away, I'm pretty good about driving away. Now I say that next week I'll get killed by a tornado in my vehicle and get sucked around. So,
Mm.
but you just pay attention. I'm gonna tell you right now. About 8 years ago, there's three guys got killed that were really good tornado chasers. They worked for the Weather Channel, and I
Mhm.
chased around them guys. There was many times I've been chasing tornadoes that they've been at the same spot I've been in. It's the same group of guys. They got all the graphics on their cars with who they're chasing for and shit. So you see the same people, and they got killed in a tornado, and they were experts. I'm an amateur, 100% amateur. These guys were experts, and they got killed. So it can happen, but they got killed in a vehicle. So,
Mhm.
and that's what happens. But it would really have to be an extreme situation for me to get out of a vehicle and know that my only hope and prayer is to lay my fat ass in a ditch.
Now,
Just mm,
so I wanted to ask, with Twisters being one of the biggest movies, and I'd say the last 5 years that come out last summer, I don't personally remember. I wasn't even a twinkle in my dad's eye at the time. But I know from being in the culture of rodeo for so long, Urban Cowboy, 8 seconds brought on a fad of bull riding, guys buying Wrangler bootcut jeans, buying resistol hats, everything like that. Do you think have you seen, or do you think this will bring, like, it'll do the same effect that it did with Urban Cowboy and 8 seconds? Twisters will do with the storm chasing community. You'll see an
if that
uptick of amateurs.
if that happens, there won't be any room for anybody on a road. It was already that way because the original Twister movie done that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot this was like a
You
remake
The-
you
sequel
saw a
kind of deal.
noticeable uptick after the first one.
Yeah, but well, it's not just that. The last 10 years, the telephone has changed. The iPhone has changed that. But in the last 10 years, when we go out and chase, used to be you might be in a line of people a quarter to half mile long of single chasers, and it looks like you're in a funeral procession while you're driving. And the last couple of years, some of those lines are 5, 10 miles long. I I was in Oklahoma. I guess it was 5 years ago, and we were chasing in a little town called Roosevelt, Oklahoma. And when our duck camp up there where we hunted, it was right there. Well, I had to wait in line for 10 minutes as cars went down the highway.
Mm.
I mean, it just was you couldn't get out, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse. So I don't know if Twisters is going to do any more than Twister did. It's definitely is going to bring more attention to it. But if you'll notice, if you've seen Twisters, those people get under that bridge and it ain't too damn good. That's another thing people
Uh-uh.
get killed under is bridges all the time. So
Mm.
if those shows are really good when it shows the amount of people chasing, but the guy tearing up the people's fields and driving through it and shit, he'd get his ass whooped. You don't do
Oh
that
yeah.
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, I
Oh
bet.
yeah.
There's
They
there's
did that with
no,
four-wheeler guys around here back in the 90s, Dad told me.
yeah, you can't do that shit. I've the dangerous thing about storm chasers is there's a lot of people that have no business chasing storms that are chasing storms. And a
In their
couple
little
years
Kia
ago,
Sorento.
oh, all the time. And everything I chase in is a 4-wheel drive, and I've had to
Oh
use
Yeah.
it
yeah.
before because I was on I-40 west of Oklahoma City about 10 years ago. Elk City had a bad tornado, and we got there, and I got caught, and I couldn't go on the road. I was north of the storm, and I got into big hail. And when I say big hail, I'm talking softball size hail.
Mm.
It blew the windows out on my truck,
Mm.
and I had to I drove up under a bridge, but instead of being on the road, I drove up on the edge, up higher on it so I could get off the
Yeah.
road because I worry about some jackass driving down the road not paying attention, hitting everybody on the sides, watching.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
And
yeah.
and when you're in softball size hell, you can't drive more than 5 miles an hour. And I was just at the mercy of God, and I got up under the bridge and waited it out. And as soon as the hell dissipated, I got out. But that's the dangerous thing about another thing dangerous about storm chasing these days is these people. It's crazy if you've never done it before, but we play leapfrog type game. You stop on the side of the road and you take pictures, and as the wall cloud comes to you, like if it's moving parallel with you,
Hmm.
You get about 5 miles in front of it, and then you'll take your pictures of it as it comes to you, because that's where your tornado is going to come from. And sometimes it'll have a tornado, sometimes it's a funnel, sometimes it's just rotating. But as it gets past you, you get into the rain and hail. So then you
Yeah.
drive in front of it and get it. So you try to stay dry while you're doing it. So it's a constant leapfrog. There's days that on the side of the road there'll be 500 cars. It looks like a
Mm.
parade. People are standing out. They got their cameras and shit. One of these days, some jackass ain't paying attention is going to be looking at a storm and plow right into a bunch of people. So
Hmm.
it's
Shit.
the chasing. If you anytime I pull over on the side of the road, I get up by the fence. Like I'll get 5, 10. I'll just drive in the ditch in my truck, and that's why I have 4-wheel drive to get away from those people. Then you got to watch
Yeah.
the rain. This last Tuesday, we had a real bad tornado or storm. It hit Monday, which is 12 miles east of me here in Knox City, and there was a water rescue. And these guys, these people don't know where they're going. They just drive down dirt roads. Well, in West Texas and Western Oklahoma, you just don't drive down dirt roads. If it's rained at all, your ass gonna get stuck. And so,
Oh,
Yeah.
after a big storm, matter of fact, the last two big storm outbreaks we've had, there's been somebody missing in this area. Some storm chaser that got off the road somewhere and they can't find him, and somebody finds him the next day sleeping in his car, probably.
Hmm.
yeah. So I work in quarries around asphalt plants and all that, and we had some good rain this weekend. And just a few hours earlier, I had to haul a truckload of dust down into the quarry, bottom of the quarry. Coming back up with an empty load, I started spinning. I was like, this is
Yeah,
going in one of two ways.
Hmm.
I'm either
That's
going
right.
back where I came from, or we're gonna dig in.
That's right. But these people, they don't know where they're going, and they just drive down roads. And
Yeah.
there's enough people get stuck knowing where they're going. When you don't know what you're doing, you're sure screwing up. But
I
it's
never
been a
realized it was that big of a phenomenon,
oh,
honestly.
it's huge. It's huge. There's tours. Like I'm in the hunting business. There's guys selling tornado chasing
The
tours.
guiding
That
tornado chases,
oh,
that's
they're
wild.
big business. They'll pull this honest to God truth. You'll pull up at an intersection, and there'll be one of those Chester the Molester vans pull up, rental vans, and the doors will open, and there'll be 12 Chinese guys get out with freaking Nikon cameras. Scouts on her. Nobody speaks English. Everybody's they're taking pictures and shit. And they'll sit there, and the guy will whistle or holler something at them in Chinese or something, and they'll jump in the bus and go down the road.
That
And
sounds.
I'm serious. And it's not just one. There might be
No,
15 or 20
I
different tours.
know.
It's big.
That's
I was gonna
crazy.
say with the one part, it sounds like every bridge around here you can catch catfish off of from the side of the road.
Yep.
Oh man.
Everywhere. And it's
You fill
but
me up a
it's
regular?
Yeah.
it's Australians, it's the Chinese,
Australians.
a lot of Australians come here
I
and
didn't know.
chase too. Yep,
So
it's
I
big.
knew a lot of Australians that come to America come to Texas, but I didn't know.
What, similar climate or something?
Yeah.
Hell, I don't know. But we
But
didn't they are there's a lot of them that chase storms.
what I was gonna bring up real quick, it just popped up off on my screen, and I know you're a big football guy. Who would you say is the most reliable kicker in the NFL?
Well, it was Justin Tucker, so he started getting the massages or whatever he's been doing.
You know what
Uh
just happened?
what?
Justin Tucker got released, and the Ravens claimed it as a football decision.
Yeah, well, he's got a lot of personal problems. Did you know
Like
that?
what?
Now, so
He-
I have heard he had conflicts in the locker room with guys like Lamar and his because he would go through placehold kickers quite a few.
Kendrick?
No,
I don't think it's locker room. I think he's been enjoying the Deshaun Watson situation.
you think Shadur's going to take his job,
Who?
Deshaun?
Who cares? They're,
Yeah,
I mean, it's a place for quarterbacks to go is Cleveland. They're comparing him to Johnny Manziel and Daniel Jones. Boy, that'll make you feel good about yourself if you're an NFL quarterback.
yeah. I don't know if I want to be in that class.
No, but back to Justin Tucker. He's a great kicker, but he's got a lot of off-field problems, I think, is his problem. I think as a teammate, he's good. I actually hunted his girlfriend in high school's dad hunts with me.
Really?
And he's talked about him a lot. He says he's a good kid now. I don't know if he knows about all this massage stuff. That'll be something for me to ask him this year. But that may be just rumor. But I don't think he also wasn't as good last year as he was. Before that, he was Mr. Automatic.
Now, This kind of ties in. I've been wanting to ask you this question. You're the biggest waterfowl podcast in the world. Who's the coolest person you think you've had on this
How does
year,
that
this
tie in at all? We were
season?
talking about football.
I know, but he was also talking about people he's hunted with, people he's been around.
The coolest person I've had on the podcast in the last year?
Yes.
Uh,
In your opinion. Doesn't have to be the most popular, but the coolest person you've had on.
well, that's a tough question. We've had some. Who? My wife, Michelle, said me.
Oh, when you and Andy had the wives on?
Yeah.
Yes, dear.
Me. I heard that from the back of the house. Me. I thought she was going to give me insight on someone else. Let me think. I like Maddie Robertson a lot, the pro fisherman.
Okay.
Oh, you did have Maddie on. That's
Yeah,
right.
Maddie
I forgot.
Maddie's a good friend of ours, so I really enjoy Maddie. I like people that are different. I don't want the same cut and dry type.
Yeah.
So we've had some really interesting people on that are not. We had somebody just on just the other day. We do three. For people that don't listen to our podcast, between the 3 regular shows we do, the Did You Knows, and the 5 Todays, we do 9 podcasts a week. So my weeks run into each other.
Mm-hmm.
We had somebody just on the other day that we talked to for a long time, and I really, really enjoyed the conversations. And I cannot remember the life of me without seeing a list of who was on my podcast just recently that was on. I like Maddie Robertson a lot. I always enjoy Clay Reed. He's a lot of fun.
Clay Reed is my favorite podcast guest you guys have ever had on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have made the comment before. I would love to sit in a room with him for an hour and just riddle him with questions.
Oh, he's a fun guy. We had a professor from TCU on the other day that was a combat veteran, and I really, really enjoyed him. He was a very interesting guy. God, let me think. I'll tell you somebody that's in the waterfowl industry that I really enjoy having on, and he's an untapped resource, and I've told him a million times that if he would do more stuff of talking about details of where he goes, that I think his podcast would just blow up bigger than it is. As I really enjoy Ramsey Russell.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah. So
yeah.
we've had a lot, and I've actually had a couple conversations with Ramsey, and I just haven't brought up having him on the podcast yet. But yeah, he seems like a really good guy.
Ramsey's a good dude. I like Ramsey. Ramsey's has hunted everywhere. I mean,
And he hunts
in the world, everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to hear about. I want to hear about what did you eat in Romania? What was the travel like? What was the bus ride like? I don't care about him shooting ducks over there. That's the least of things. I just want to hear about his experience going in and coming out and all that kind of stuff. Ramsey's a very interesting person. I'll tell you a guy that we had on one time is we had a guy named Roger Reeves on, and he's called the Smuggler.
Is that the guy that flew the plane?
Yep. And he flew.
Yeah.
He hired Barry Seal, who was American Made by Tom Cruise.
Yes.
And anyways, Roger was on the podcast with us. He spent 23 years in prison, and he got caught. And my numbers are wrong, but I want to say he had $200 million worth of cocaine going into Australia. So it was an unbelievable amount of cocaine, and got busted with it.
So he got busted in Australia.
Yep, and spent 16 years in prison there. And I'm sure my numbers are wrong because it's been a couple of years ago, but he was one of my favorites. Roger Reeves. God dang it, who did we have? We had somebody on the other day that had we had a kid on the other day that had a Bigfoot story that I really liked from Arkansas.
Okay.
He was really.
Did you get any good pictures?
No, nobody ever gets a good picture of Bigfoot.
Nobody does.
Never happens. We had a guy on a couple of years ago that had these great pictures, and he sent them to us. Fuck, you could take a 2-year-old kid and an iPhone and get better pictures this guy got.
Yeah.
There's better pictures of Ray J's dick on the internet than Bigfoot.
1,000 times better. It was terrible. But his story was really cool. It made goosebumps on it. And then we had, God dang it, we were talking to a guy the other day, and there's a podcast, and I'm trying to think of the name of the other damn podcast we had.
Oh, no.
Oh, there you are.
There you are. We lost you for a second there.
Yep, you're there.
Hello?
Can you hear us, Jeff?
Us?
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, I screwed up.
Something happened.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It went black for a second there. He's going on technical support mode.
Oh, he's probably going to rejoin. Hey, real quick, while we're waiting for Jeff to rejoin, we just want to let you know, because we don't have an intro to the video yet, the podcast is brought to you by Papa Earl's Cajun Seasoning, Top Down Decoys.
You got me now?
We got you now.
Okay. We had a guy on the other day, and we were talking about another podcast I listened to. There's a gentleman that was hunting with a thermal, and they were pig hunting, and they had some kind of extraterrestrial type thing they dealt with. A skinwalker.
Oh,
do you remember this podcast?
Please don't give me any proof that they're real.
I'll let you finish, but I just saw something about a guy in Texas that got arrested for drugging people. Drugging people somewhere. He got arrested. And there were some of like 50 people he drugged, took to his home. He dressed up like an alien and anally probed them. I just saw this on Facebook yesterday.
That's fucked up.
It wasn't in Arkansas.
No.
Arkansas shit
So real quick, when you have a client shoot something on the water, do you call that Arkansas on the duck?
No, we don't. We're hunting in West Texas. We don't shoot much water anyway. So
fair enough.
But I grew up here, and that was the term to Arkansas.
Okay,
that's the term.
So
I never heard that term.
This skinwalker guy was hunting, and he saw something, and I can't remember. He had a gun. He did. It was a thermal gun, and he saw something walk and went to the other side of the field. So he walked over to it. When he got over there, where he was setting at and bait, this thing come walking up. And it stood up on its haunches, like from 4 to 2 feet, and kind of looked over at him. He's like, "What the fuck?" So he shot over the top of it, and it said, "Ha ha, you miss me."
Oh, I'm out.
Hell no. Then I'm unloading after that.
It disappeared.
Like like that?
It was gone.
Gone.
There's one video out there. There's one. And it's of this white-tailed deer with an oblong jaw. I saw this before anybody really kind of thought about AI, so it could have been somebody really good with a computer. But it was of a white-tailed deer with a really long jaw that stood up in some pine trees and moaned and ran away. That's the only kind of skinwalker type deal that's ever like skeeved me out.
Dude, the video that gets me the most is that ring camera video of that lady that was talking, then walks back and transforms.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a supernatural dude. I'm not a religious dude. I'm not a supernatural dude. I'm none of that. That video gets under my skin so bad.
Well, this video with this guy, and it's something Butterfly podcast. My friend Stacy Coker sent it to me. We played it on one of our podcasts because we talked about it, but it'll make the skin stand up on you. But it was this guy. I mean, when you come out and you talk about stuff like this, if you really don't believe what you saw, you're just making yourself look bad. So this guy said this thing hollered up, "You missed me," or "You hurt me," or something. I mean, whatever he said, it made the skin crawl up. And I've seen some weird shit in the middle of nowhere that's not bothered me. I had an experience one time, and I've told this before on our podcast. I was driving to the lodge one day, and 3 miles from the lodge, there's a thing we call the nature trail. And it's an area where it goes from fields down into like a creek bottom, and then it comes back up. Well, there's a lot of game goes through there, so you got to watch it. Grass has grown up and stuff. I'm driving there one time, and I'm coming back to the lodge, and all of a sudden, the music, and people are going to think I'm nuts when I tell this story. The music in my Suburban just kind of goes away. It's just like a quiet noise, and it kind of
white noise,
just a white noise, no noise at all. And I'm looking there, and it's just really a weird feeling. And I look over at me, and like the angel off the Van Halen cover that's smoking the cigarette is flying next to me, but there ain't no cigarette. It's just an angel. I mean, I can see it plain as day on the window. And I thought, oh shit, I'm dying. I'm fixing to have a bad wreck or something. And then it all just went away.
That's wild.
I come in this lodge, I was like, y'all are going to think I'm fucking crazy.
So I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel about those supernatural stories. Like I believe you. I get what you're saying, but it's hard to see that kind of stuff happening unless it happens to yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If somebody else would have told me this, I thought, oh yeah, I bet crazy some bitch been drinking all day.
And like I want to see something like that someday. I mean,
Just
be
slap
careful
down
what
the
you
road.
wish for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
So
like
you'd want to see Bigfoot?
I
would. I
definitely want
just
to
like
see
if I was
Bigfoot.
gonna have an experience like that, I'd want to actually. I need to see it myself to believe it.
So-
Like I want to believe the aliens thing, but until I see some shit like that, I don't know if I can.
Do you
I
want to
can't
see it by
commit.
do you want to see it by yourself or with a group of people? Because I don't want to see shit by myself. I saw this by myself, so I ain't got no witnesses, and I don't want
I
it to be some other bullshitter like me to see it with me. I want it to be someone that's accountable, where everybody's like, "Oh, that sucker right there, he'd never lie." Like my preacher, if he's with me and tells everybody, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it really happened."
I could deal with it by myself because if I came in here and I looked at Brian and I said I just saw blank, he would know that I'm telling the truth because I'm not one to cave on those kinds of things and just make it up out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
So do you? I couldn't tell you when it was. So I listened to the Ducks Unlimited podcast, and they told a story about some guy in East Texas. I think it was either East or West Texas, and it was this guy's first hunt. He went on a guided hunt on a game ranch, and they sat him in, or he walked out to the blind 5 o'clock in the morning, and he said he heard or he felt like this shaking on the bottom of his blind. So I guess through a hole in the floor, he stuck his phone with his flashlight through this hole in the floor.
They've messed this story up so bad.
Have they really?
Yeah.
What's the story?
The guy was hunting in East Texas in a blind, and he was
Like a-
sitting in a box blind and sitting
Yeah,
in a
It's worth the
blind,
wait.
and he was there for 30 minutes before dark, before sun comes up, and he's sitting there playing on his phone, and all of a sudden something reaches in and grabs his phone,
Ooh.
took his phone, and
A hairy hand.
yeah, hairy hand, and screaming. He turned, he went bam, 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 and he shot, and he took off out the door and he ran. The guys heard him shooting, dropping somebody else off, and they said, "Well, shit, we'll go check on old Earl and see if he got anything." They're driving back to Earl, and here's Earl's ass hightailing it down the fucking county road. And they're like, "Where are you doing?" He said, "I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm going home." And they said, "What happened?" He said, "I just shot Bigfoot." He goes, "Huh?" He said, "I just shot
Wait for
Bigfoot." He said, "Well, you come back." "I ain't going back here. I'm going back to fucking deal." So they drove him back to the house, dropped him at the lodge. He said, "I'm fucking going home." They drove back out there, and there's a fucking dead silverback gorilla right there outside the door of the
Oh my
blind.
god.
Yeah, it escaped from a zoo like a day earlier, right?
Yes, and they were looking for it.
Mm.
Well, they,
Clay Reed tells that story, and it's a really good. When Clay tells it, he's really good. But that's the story. I don't know who was telling it, but that's the true story of what happened. But it was a gorilla, but it reached in through the deal. It didn't come through the floor. It reached through the box blind and grabbed his phone.
Oh my
and I'm telling you
God.
right now, I would have shit all over myself. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, I think all of us would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now, could you imagine if he would have just injured that sumbitch? That Michelle Obama, she'd have whooped his ass. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
100%.
Big Mike would have been swinging more than
Oh.
what's between her legs.
Woo.
I'm telling
Big
you.
Mike.
I remember.
Have you seen the stuff going on right now? One gorilla versus 100 men.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up, but I
What
wasn't
do you
sure
mean?
if
Is
you
that
knew about
like
it.
is that like the
It's
question?
like this hypothetical question that
Okay.
even Barstool
like
Sports
the
is in on it.
horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses kind of deal?
No, this is in a hypothetical question. If there was 100 men versus one gorilla, if you could pick the lineup, would anybody win? And everybody's picking like John Jones and
I'm taking the gorilla.
Oh, 100%.
I think
Yeah.
John Jones could take the gorilla on.
Nah,
I could
Not
see
a
that.
chance in hell.
You don't think
I
so?
tell you what, that guy
He's
with a
a
30
big
out 6
motherfucker.
could.
He is a big dude.
He's a fucking not even a baby gorilla. A
I was
gorilla
gonna
weighs
say,
700 fucking pounds with about 2% body fat. They said that a gorilla to pull your arm off is easier than two men trying to pull a baby's arm off.
well, so Jane,
That's a wild.
what the hell's her name?
ratio.
Jane. Oh,
Goodall?
yeah, Jane Goodall. She said she. There's a quote from her that said like, all they have to do is walk with their front paws, and the ground shakes within 50 yards of them.
Oh, they're huge. Have you ever seen the video of the little Chinese people taking pictures of them? And that one gorilla grabs that guy by his leg and just pulls him with them?
No,
I know, I did see that video.
I've seen orangutans. The video of them orangutans pulling people through the fence.
He pulls him and he lets him go, doesn't he?
Yeah, lets him go.
He just
Oh,
lets
he
him
drags
go.
him off his
yeah,
feet,
he just
right?
drags him off like nothing. Like
I have seen
if
that.
we were grabbing like, I don't know, like
Have you
a
watched-
tree limb or something.
Have you watched Chimp Empire on Netflix?
I started it. I never
haven't.
finished it.
If you watch it, then you know damn well there ain't 100 men whipping a fucking gorilla's ass. Ain't
I
no
tell
way
you-
in hell.
I think
Now-
I watched like 3 episodes of it. They're smart. They're a lot smarter than I thought they were.
Now, is that about? So the one thing I did watch, and I was enthralled with, was the apes of the Congo, the chimps of the Congo,
I didn't see that one.
like these man killer chimpanzee, the cannibalistic chimps.
Oh, they'll rip your dick off in a heartbeat.
They're
what they go
wild. I mean, granted, they're wild, but it's nuts.
I see what you did there. Nuts. That's a good one.
It's a whole documentary about these chimps in the Congo. I think it was the Congo that were cannibalistic and just super ultra aggressive.
Yeah, but that's one of their going points is your
use it all.
eyeballs
Don't
and your
use it all.
in your eyeballs and your nuts. They'll
Just like a
grab you
damn
by
turkey
your-
vulture.
They'll grab your balls and rip them right off, and poke your eyeballs out. They're mean as hell. But
I'm
there's
never
no
going
way
on an
that-
Africa guide. No way.
Well, there's no way 100 men whip it. I don't see it. It'd be like, could you imagine 100 midgets trying to fight Shaquille O'Neal? It ain't happening. You know?
How many toddlers could you beat up?
yeah.
Yeah. That's
No,
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 we're asking you.
we're
How
asking
many
you.
toddlers do you think you could beat up before they overwhelmed you?
Well, I'm fat and old. I'd get out of shape pretty fast. Now, what do we classify a toddler? Like 3 and under?
4 to 6.
4 to
Oh,
6.
fuck, my gran- yeah, I got
it's
it.
3 to 5.
3 to 5 is a good number.
My grandson, my youngest, trying to think. Andy's youngest is 5 years old. Yeah, 10 of them little fuckers would wear me out. I don't know. There's no way. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you've roughhoused with your grandkids before,
A
but
lot, 3. And usually it's 3, sometimes 4 of them. But yeah, they wear me. And the older ones now, they're 10 and 11, and they're too much work. But no, there's no way. But
it's like that Rodney.
The gorilla thing, you ain't gonna get close to that thing.
No, hell no.
I mean, they're so quick and big and strong, and then you got to hurt them. See, that's the key, is hurting them.
You know
can't
what? I think I know 3 names. I think if you get Antonio Brown, Ray Lewis, and Lawrence Taylor and Gronk together, they might put a wearing out on him. But I don't think they're beating him.
No, not a chance in hell.
You don't think
First
that
of
you don't
all,
think that CTE sets in and they don't care?
I don't think there's enough cocaine to get Lawrence Taylor's ass in the middle of that shit. No.
So, I'm not real big into the sports. I never. It wasn't really a thing I ever did. But here's a sports question for you. How do you feel about Gronk being on like the announcer thing, and like, did you see him on like what was it? The Peyton? No, it wasn't the Peyton Manning.
No, he does stuff for what, ESPN?
No, the roast. Who was the roast? Who's the roast? The Patriots quarterback.
Tom
Brady
roast?
roast.
Tom Brady, yeah. Like, how do you feel about, like, I can, like, when he's talking, I can feel the CTE in the air
On Gronk?
on Gronk.
He doesn't bother me at all. He's just a big doofus that kind of seem like
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling the
fun guy to
CTE
be
through the
around.
screen.
Oh, I
But-
think he'd be a great guy to
He
party
does sound
with.
like, oh yeah, he'd be wonderful to party with.
But he don't bother me as an announcer. I tell you, what gets on my fucking nerves is Boomer Esiason. God,
Okay.
Anymore, yeah.
who is it that it's not Boomer. It's that Chris Collinsworth that does Sunday Night Football.
Really? See, I don't mind Collins. I don't like
Oh.
Joe Buck. Joe Buck gets on my nerves to all hell's ends.
The Skippy and Shannon show is like the only thing close to that I can get with. I can't watch that. My dad watches that all day long.
Well, they're gone. They're done now.
Are they? What?
Yeah.
I heard there was a controversy. I know nothing about what happened with that.
They split up about a year ago.
Yeah.
Did they?
And Skip wears me out big time, and so does Shannon. But I used to like Shannon. I think he's funny, and then he tries to put too much racial bullshit on stuff. And I don't like
Yep.
Yeah.
it. I get-
Especially with his podcast.
I
Yeah.
saw that too with just the stuff on TV. Like there's a lot of the race card getting played
Yeah,
there.
I get so sick of that shit. I think if they wanted to have better ratings, and the NFL's got their ratings skyrocket, I think they should have some redneck guy on every announcing booth for the home team, and then let someone.
Oh,
I mean, it would be great. Like you get some Kansas City Chief lover on there when the Mahomes and them. Oh, it's all you. People get so fucking mad listening to that shit, but they would listen to it just to see what they're
Oh,
Oh
saying.
yeah,
yeah.
it'd be entertaining.
so there's a guy. So up here, I'm a Cowboys fan, true
which
and
is
true through.
which is crazy.
And I live in Philly country. Now I'm not in Philly. I'm in Jersey, which makes it I guess a little
That's
better.
our team. The Eagles are technically the area's team.
But I listen to 94.1, so I can tell you I know a little bit more about the Eagles than I do the Cowboys just by association. There's a guy from Tennessee that calls in to 94.1, and it is the greatest conversations ever. It's, yeah, I think they ought to fire that dumbass, and oh my God, it gets me going. Whenever he
Nick
calls in
Foles?
like every other days. No.
He's wanting to fire Sirianni or
Yeah.
Sirianni, that's who I was thinking of.
They ought to fire that dumbass Sirianni and put Big Dom in charge. And oh, it gets me fucking rolling.
So you're a Cowboy fan in Philly land.
Yeah.
If he wore a jersey, he'd get jumped here, probably. It happens every single game.
Well, I don't know why anybody'd be a Cowboy fan, but that's to each his own because I hate the Cowboys. But
Are you a
And you
Chiefs
know-
fan or a Texans fan?
no, fuck no. I used to be a Chief fan, but I'm Taylor Swifted out on all that. shit.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm a Redskin fan, not a
You know-
Commanders fan. I grew up a Redskin fan. I'm a Redskin fan.
I am a huge. I wouldn't say huge. So college football doesn't run as deep in my veins as it does with you guys in the South. To say I'm a huge. I was always a Longhorns fan. Always a Longhorns fan. I love LSU. I like SEC football in general. So I was a huge fan of Jaden Daniels coming out.
Boy, he's good.
Yes, he is, and I was way bigger on him than Caleb Williams and anybody, and Drake May and anybody else. I thought Jaden Daniels should have been the first pick overall. Granted, he wouldn't have been as good as he is now if he was on the Bears, but Jaden Daniels and the Terry McLaurin combo have been like this close to switching fan bases.
Well, I'm a big Redskin fan. I said on our podcast that I was hoping that Chicago would take Caleb Williams. I have a real problem with a guy. He's just too sensitive and too soft to be a quarterback in the NFL, I think. And I may
And
be
you
wrong
can't
on
mix that
long
with the
run.
ego he has.
No, hell no. He's not. I mean, he went part ownership of the team and all that shit. Now,
Yep.
I think Ben Johnson going up there is going to make them a whole lot better. But I like the Redskins a lot. I've been a fan my whole life. My dad's first cousin was the quarterback when they went to their first Super Bowl. So I grew up as a Redskin fan as a little kid.
Really?
And if you grew up as a Redskin fan, you hate the Dallas Cowboys. And that part.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that have.
No, it's
hatred for the
so
Cowboys.
the original rivalry is the Redskins and the Cowboys.
big
Then
time.
how did the Eagles and the Cowboys come about?
Everybody
As a
hates
non-sports
Dallas.
person.
Everybody hates Dallas,
Okay,
even though
but there's
a
got to be a legitimate
so what-
sparking factor.
And I'm
that
sure
starts that.
Jeff could agree with this. It was probably in the 90s.
Buddy Ryan.
Yeah. So when the Redskins kind of tapered off and the Eagles picked up, and those two head-to-head games were a little more competitive,
Okay.
I would say that's where the hatred. And plus, being around it, knowing it, the Phillies fan base is god awful.
Oh yeah, we're toxic.
It's the most hated fan base in the world.
So
Cowboys heard that. I'd like to go to a game there. Reese,
Don't.
Andy's oldest, he is a huge Philly fan. I mean, huge Philly fan. And Andy talked about taking Reese to Lincoln to go to a game.
I got
And
spit on.
Somebody told us that don't go. Well, Reese is an Eagle fan. He would be happy as hell. He'd be throwing batteries at people probably. But
climbing poles, let's go.
D batteries. That's a Philly trait.
Yeah.
but
Throw them Johns at you.
everybody that plays Dallas is a rivalry. I mean, the
Yeah.
Giants have had years they were big rivals with
Yeah,
Dallas.
yeah, absolutely.
In the St. Louis, when it was the St. Louis Cardinals back in the 70s, they were big rivals. Everybody's a rival with Dallas.
I guess it's
I
just
don't-
one thing to do.
I don't like Dallas, but I got a lot of respect for a lot of their players, and but I sure love watching them lose. God Almighty, there ain't nothing happier than being a poor fat white kid on a Sunday, knowing there's a billionaire in Dallas that's having a shittier day than me every Sunday. Just makes my day.
Oh, you're gonna have a lot of days like that this year.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I was going through, like, well, Jeff doesn't know. My grandfather passed. I'm living in the house now. I'm taking care of it. When I was going through my grandmother's things, I found so much Cowboys memorabilia.
Well, why didn't you tell me?
She was a huge Cowboys fan, and I had no idea because she passed when I was real young.
Did you sell it or keep it?
I'm holding on to it for now. Some of it's sentimental. Like my uncles, the sons are gonna go through everything, but I never realized that. Like, I always thought you were an oddity, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No.
The area being a Cowboys fan.
The Phillies Cowboy fan. Yeah, the Phillies Cowboy fan is like a national hatred.
Okay.
Yeah. There's tons of Cowboys. You can go anywhere in the United States and find Cowboy fans. They're everywhere.
The other weird thing is a lot of people around here are Steelers fans.
Wow.
Which is also, I've seen Steelers flags, like where I'm living. There's like 4 or 5 houses with Steelers flags.
They probably, how old are the people? If they grew up in the 70s, they're big Pittsburgh
they
fans.
did. They did, because one of the ladies cut my hair. She used to cut my hair all the time.
Or not Staubach.
Terry Bradshaw.
Bradshaw, that's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
Did you know? I bet you didn't know this. What? I know Jeff knows
What
this.
didn't I know?
Phil Robertson was a starter over Terry Bradshaw in college.
At Louisiana Tech.
At Louisiana Tech, yep. Dog Commander.
Okay. There we go. Now I got it.
I think Phil even went to camp with the Pittsburgh Steelers also.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
I think he played pro football for a year. I don't know if I think he got invited to training camp. I don't know if he ever made their roster. But
So
I'm sure that he did.
I remember him telling stories that he got invited to camps and he was interviewing for the draft. But that was about the time where he was dealing with a lot of shit and he decided football was one of the main things he had to cut out. Because I know he played all through his senior year too.
Yeah, he played Louisiana Tech, and then Terry Bradshaw came in, and Bradshaw was a better quarterback. But Phil went to I think he went to Pittsburgh also. He went to somebody's camp. But I don't know that if he went to just mini camp or what, but he did try to play pro football a little bit.
So let me ask you this. Now with college, who do you root for with college?
I'm a Longhorn fan.
What do you think about Isaiah Bond not getting drafted?
I would have drafted him in the 7th round if I would have been a team just to see what happens. And if he doesn't make it, if he gets cleared of charges, you've got a 1st-round draft pick.
I was going to say,
what charges does he have?
Sexual assault.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And but he's suing the lady, and he might get off. Xavier Worthy got the same got assault charges on him, and they dropped him. So Isaiah Bond may clear himself. Now, if he gets cleared, he's in a driver's seat because he'll be an unrestricted free agent, can sign with anybody. So he's better off. But I'm really shocked that a team did not draft him in the 7th round.
Just because the 7th round pick. How many starters do you get out of the 7th round? I mean,
if he makes a roster spot, he's not making but the NFL minimum just about. He's got to steal for 3 years.
You're paying a top 20 wide receiver in the league if he clears his name, a bottom 10% of the league minimum.
Here's a question for you. What's the NFL minimum?
Probably $1 million a year. I'm close, I'm guessing.
No, I thought it was around 850,000. I think is the league minimum.
That's
still.
That's the minimum.
Yeah.
So that kid I know is making 800,000.
Yeah.
And he don't even really play all that much. I haven't heard all that much about him since he got drafted.
Did he just get drafted?
No, Jonathan Taylor.
Are you stupid? Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's from like 20 minutes from us.
$850,000 a year.
That's what I
probably makes $5 million a year.
Yeah, he's a top 10 running back in the league.
He's killing it right now.
He had his sophomore year. He held the rushing title and the rushing touchdowns title, I think.
Yeah, he didn't do as good last year, but the year before he did. But he's probably he's going to get his 5th-year option made, but he's probably got a $10 million signing bonus and probably making $5 million a year.
Well, the Colts organization kind of fucked him over, talking all that shit on him and then not trading him.
So here's a question. As you get older, people, like, I'm noticing this now, people that that you grew up with that just randomly get big out of nowhere, like, how often has that happened? Obviously, you're one of them to somebody else, but...
I'm big, yeah. I've gained freaking 50 pounds probably in the last couple of years.
No, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean weight-wise.
So have we.
Yeah, honestly, past 7 months, at least 50 pounds.
So what he means is like Mike Trout is from 10 minutes from us.
Yes. That's
Do
what I'm
I
saying.
know? I
People
didn't
you
grow up
know
with.
of.
I didn't grow up with one person that's famous. Now, we've got a kid that lives 10 miles away from us. It's a first round draft pick in the NFL. We've got another
Hmm.
kid that lives about 25 minutes away from us or 30 minutes away. He was a second round pick of Pittsburgh. James Washington and
Yep.
LJ Collier are both local kids. Uh, both have been to our
Hey,
house, and both of
James
them played
Washington played
together.
for the Cowboys.
Yep. Yeah, for just a little bit. So he broke his
Yeah.
leg, broke his
Yeah.
ankle. But I mean, that happens all the time. Guys grow up and hit it big and doing different things.
I never
Well,
realized that. I thought it'd be a rare phenomenon
No,
than what it is. You know
well,
what I
that
mean?
also speaks to the culture of you always hear about Texas football. Like
Yeah.
Texas football is king in Texas over a lot of things.
over everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it wasn't important, they wouldn't keep score.
I agree.
a
That might
good
be one of the
quote.
best quotes I've ever heard.
There used to be the old Cowboy Stadium, Texas Stadium, had a hole in the roof, and the saying was it's so God could watch his favorite team play on Sundays.
It's not the Cowboys. Sorry.
But yeah, Texas high school football in Texas is big in college and pro. I mean, it's big, big, big. Yes.
Well, Snoop Dogg's pretty big into it now, ain't he? Has been for a while.
He coached youth football in Los Angeles and has had I think Juju Smith-Schuster played for him in youth football, and some other guys did too. I
Could
think
you
it's a
imagine
couple of
Snoop
others.
Dogg being your coach rolling up?
There's a
on your
movie
youth?
about it. He does
Really?
a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's
I think-
funny.
Michelle, did Snoop quit smoking dope?
No, that was a rumor. That was a rumor. I saw that
no.
Michelle just hell knowed that. She's like,
too.
anyways, but he does a lot of stuff for the youth in the Compton area or Long Beach, wherever he's at in California. He does a lot of good stuff. You talk about a guy that has completely taken advantage of who he is when it comes to marketing.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, he's his own thing.
I mean, he went to prison. He smokes pot for breakfast. I mean, everything that society would have told you got to watch this guy on, he's become this cult figure, and everybody
Yeah.
likes him.
What's her name? Who did he do the cooking show with?
Martha Stewart.
Martha
Yeah,
Stewart.
yeah.
That's what it is. For some.
The lady. Never mind.
How much do you think she smokes?
I probably
Enough to forget what she said.
Yeah. But anyway, he's done well for himself. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it.
And I don't.
He's
It's a
probably
cool
my
thing
favorite
giving
rapper.
back. Really?
That's my favorite rapper right there, Snoop Dogg.
Do you jam him on the way to the camp?
Well, first of all, I don't ever hunt no more, anyways. But my playlist in my truck is pretty eclectic. It's all over the place. I mean, we may listen to Merle Haggard. We may listen to Snoop Dogg.
Van
we may
Halen.
listen some Van Halen or a lot of Van Halen. We listen. I have all kinds of stuff, and I might bust out some Frank Sinatra, Rubber Band Man by the Spinners. I love. I mean, I'm all over. I love black music. I'm telling you right now, I don't like rap. I like soul and R&B. Bobby
You ever been-
Brown.
You ever been to a black church?
That's
I
a
drive
crazy
by one a
experience.
lot, but I've
No,
never
you
should
should
go.
go in one. That's a crazy experience.
He
I
has
saw a lady fall on the ground and start shaking because she felt the light of God. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I don't have 6 hours to devote, and I think
That's fair. That's fair. They're there all day.
Yeah, I'm an 11 to 11:45 Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were going to church, it was 8:30 to 9:45, and that was about all I can handle.
I'm good with that, and I like the speech. My preacher my preacher's been on the podcast with us a bunch, Tex Cox, and I really enjoy when Tex is on. But Tex also is a regular guy, so I can speak to him. But I like listening to him, but I don't like all the other things that go along. I'm not into all the hugging and the music and all. I want to hear. I love
agree.
the speech because I like history, and the Bible is history.
Mm-hmm.
And so I enjoy it, but I do not all the other stuff. I'm just not it's not my thing.
Yep. No, I agree 100%. That's like
Their choirs are good. I will give them that. It was weird seeing the lady fall on the ground, but their choirs are pretty bad.
we pedaled around churches for a long time till we found one we settled on, and it was because like we did 4 or 5 hymns to begin, 2 or 3 to end, and it was just mainly talking about the Bible.
I want I love the talk, and that's kind of my. But I like my preacher, and I like listening to him. But all the other stuff, I'm not a big fan of. But I enjoy black music and black church music. I would really enjoy it, but I'm not sitting 6 hours in church. There's no way.
Yeah.
Look, my dad is
I'd
an
have to take a
overweight
lunch
white
break.
man, and his favorite artist on this earth is Tupac.
I don't even know if I know a Tupac song. I know I do know some Tupac.
Oh, he
music.
knows
It's
them.
been so
Tupac.
long.
If you want to learn, I'll hit you. I'll get you with him.
You guys should have a shared playlist. of just
Actually-
Tupac.
So as hillbilly, white trash, redneck as I was raised, the first CD I ever listened to was Nellyville.
Yeah, I can see
Getting
that.
hot in here.
So
Country
take off all
grammar,
your
all
clothes.
Nellyville was the first CD I was ever introduced, and then Montgomery Gentry.
That's
I
a
had
that's
both
a
of
big
those.
switch up. That's a
I had both
180 right there.
okay, there's somebody that's on my playlist. Is I got both Nelly and Montgomery Gentry. So there you go.
See, you
Let's
probably got
go.
Paul Wall in there somewhere with your grills.
He probably does.
No, I don't have no Paul Wall at all. In there.
Oh, come
No,
on.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you the name of the guy that's going to be on the rapper. His name's Schaefer, Shaefer, and he's out of Utah, and he's a hunter.
Is he Mormon?
I don't know if he's got one wife or 12. I don't know.
It's Utah. Who knows?
Schaefer from Utah. All right.
We'll have to look
Schaefer.
him up.
But it's Shaefer. But he's going to be on with us Friday. He's a big bow hunter.
Okay. So look, Jeff, we're going to wrap it up here for the main podcast. We would love to have you stick around and ask you a very off-the-wall question for our Patreon, if that would
Okay.
be okay with you.
Yeah, it's fine.
So we appreciate everybody for sticking around. We hope you love having Jeff on as much as we do.
I know you're listening to this late, but take a shot of tequila anyway.
Yeah. Happy sink in the mayo, whatever the hell Ryan
Sink in
said.
the mayo in the sink. Let's go.
So to end it all, Jeff, we always love having you on. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank
Hey,
you.
thank you, and I'd love to come on again. I enjoy it every time.
Yes, sir. All right, let me end this.